Hey everybody, it is Kendell Lenice. Welcome to Kendell Lenice Live right here on YouTube. It's all about changing the narrative. So what you thought was is going to be totally different. And that's what I want to bring to you. This channel is all about education, elevation, and entertainment. I'm so pleased to have my guest today on Kendell Lenice Live. We are talking about getting rid of the old so you can discover the new. My guest today is Suzette Samuel. Let's get it. Today's show because I have a beautiful person, not just on the outside, but on the inside. Some of you, she's a boss. Let's just be clear. She's a realtor. She's an entrepreneur. You might know her from reality TV. She was on Black Ink Crew. She was, and I want to, she's more, I hate to say this because she's so much more, but that's what we're going to talk about. She's the ex-girlfriend of Caesar from Black Ink Crew. And there was a clip that she posted to promote her new book, which I thought was so powerful. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. But you're going to understand that Suzette Samuel is much more than somebody's girlfriend, fiance, whoever. She has her own bag, her own name, and her own brand. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But I want you do this, during this interview to get to know her like you've never known her before. All right, my girl Suzette Samuel, welcome.
Hey y'all.
Yay! Welcome.
That intro was everything. Yes. You guys are definitely gonna get to know me, get to know my voice, my narrative, and more so not what was portrayed of me, but who I really am. So
yes, absolutely. So I'll give you a moment if you want to just forward this to your social media or anywhere. If you want to do that so they can watch it live. If you like, it'll be up for the playback too, but
I don't even know how to do that.
That's all right. You do it later. They can see it later because it's going to be the same great show.
Right.
Don't even worry about it. All right. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited too. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. I got a chance to meet this beautiful woman when I interviewed her for Sheen Magazine's Sheen Talk. That's 2 years ago, I guess?
I think that was 2021.
Yeah, time is flying, and I
fell in love since then.
I know. I follow you on social media. I'm like, yes, come on. But can I be honest with you? I knew who you were, but I never watched you on that because when I do an interview, like I want to get to know the person. I don't want to see all of that.
Right.
And I didn't even see that clip until you posted it. How about that?
Girl,
how about that? I knew, with your bio, I knew that you were on there. I was very aware of who Caesar was, because when that show first launched, Black Ink Crew years ago, everybody was tuned in.
Right.
Before we knew who he was, the drama, we were just excited for, a Black man owning his own company to be featured. So we knew that. So fast forward, I didn't know any of the drama that was happening until you posted it. And when you posted it, first I was just like, dang, she looked beautiful with no makeup on. Come on, girl. Just had surgery. She looking good. First, I couldn't get past that. Right. So I looked at that and then I was listening to that conversation. And we're going to talk about this right at the top because I don't want this to be the whole length of it. But to be honest, you are a realtor, you are a credit specialist. I mean, you do amazing things, but unfortunately, a lot of people know you just from that show.
Right.
So I want to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to move on to what you have going on now.
Okay, fair enough.
Is that okay?
That's fine with me, girl. Fine with me. Like I tell people, like I was getting a lot of I'm not going to say it was a lot of backlash, but I was getting backlash from that clip, like, oh, why you're using him to promote your book. And it's not even that. So you know what it is? People have to understand that as women, our experiences, our trauma, our childhood, like everything that we go through, it makes up who we are and how we
Yes.
react and how we respond and even how we
Yes.
elevate from that. So it wasn't so much of me using, I don't like, I have my own name, my own brand.
Yes.
Like, that's not what I need to do, but that is part of my story. That is part
Yeah.
of, my trauma. That is part of, especially at that time frame of my life where I was trying to heal from surgery. That's something that I had to deal with. I had to deal with being in a real relationship, because outside of reality TV, this was my real life. And the thing with reality TV, confused what's real and what's fake. But this was my real life. This was something that I went through for real with somebody who was supposed to be my better half. I had to deal with the mental, the depression I went through, because I was facing backlash from the show being portrayed that I was demanding X, Y, and Z, when that really wasn't even how that situation went. So it was a lot that I went through. And as a woman, especially as a woman who, I didn't go into that situation on like for what he had or what he was worth, because I had my own. But
Come on.
we have to look in the mirror and hold ourselves accountable for how we allow people to treat us. And that was my eye opener, where I was just like, you know what? At this point, you know what you get and you know what you're not getting. So what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And that's why I use that as a part of my clip for my book, because that was part of my transition. My book title, She Had to Pass to Become Her. I had to go through that. I had to, realize my self-worth. I had to realize who I was, the power I had to walk where I'm at now. Because had I remained in that situation, I wouldn't be as powerful as I am right now. I found my voice. I found my worth. I found my purpose. What I have going on actually stemmed from that hurt. And like I tell women, we got to turn our pain into purpose. We can't allow the pain to consume us, because the pain, what we go through in life, we can't control that. We can only control how we respond. So yes, my book is, it's about my life. So if it happened in my life, it's going to be in my book. And that's something I went through for real. That's an experience that I encountered for real. So of course that's going to be in my book. It has nothing to do with him, whether it was him, Tom, or Jerry, it's going to be in my book.
Not Tom or Jerry though.
I'm just saying.
and I want to lean into what you said about people saying that you were using that. I thought it was brilliant. I really did. I thought that you turned that pain into purpose. I thought that was amazing, because like I said, I wanted to get to know you. So I didn't, I knew that you were the girl from, based off of when I got all the information when it was time to interview for the magazine. Right. But I didn't go watch it, like I said, because I had stopped watching that show at some point. Okay. So I hadn't seen it. Right. But and that's no shade, but I had stopped watching it, so I didn't know. But when I saw the trailer for your new book, and I saw that you put that toxic conversation, because that's really what it was, in that book, I mean, in that intro, I thought it was outstanding. I don't think that you used him. You didn't, how some people will go out, right? And they'll say, they did this, he did this, da, da, da. You didn't do any of that. You just literally played what everybody saw.
Right.
And you can tell that you were hurt. You can tell it was a sincere moment. You can tell you weren't getting fed of what you needed. You needed emotions. And I think a lot of people understand, when people have money and means, they want to throw money at a situation.
Right.
And they don't want to hear your heart and get into the emotion of it. And I think you articulated very well the issue of concern there.
Right.
And you can tell that you were hurt. You can tell that it was painful. You were bothered by it. You can tell it wasn't the first time. You can tell a lot in that.
Right.
So if that is something that was traumatic, and that you had, emotional, because you can't say certain words on here, right? But when you know that your emotions were tied into that, right? How could that not affect you, and how could that not be part of the message that you're trying to, because this is, your story. So I want to encourage you, not that you need it in this space, but I want to encourage you to keep moving how you're moving, and people may not understand why, but that's why they got to get the book to understand that it's not about him. This is just a small piece of it. And how could you not talk about it? One, where some people just know you from that. Two, it was very publicized. And three, it was on a reality show, and it was reality. How could you not talk about it?
Right. No, listen, I think anyone who went through healing gets it. Anybody, even like I had a lot of people reach out to me, and I'm talking about, I have women that are in marriages 10 plus years. Like, this is my issue with my husband right now. Like, this is what I'm going through right now. And I don't even know how to get out of it. I don't know what to do. This been going on for years, So like I said, it's just, I'm basically, I've never been a type, if anyone knows my story, I come from a very traumatic background, and I want
to talk about that.
Yeah, I've never been the type to roll over or allow my past to consume me or even make excuses. I've always been the type to, what, this is what I went through, and this is how I'm going to help the next person get through it, because we all have God-given talents. You have to turn your pain into purpose. And that's what I've done with every last one of my situations. So why would this situation be any different?
Yeah, because it's part of your story. I want to talk about that. Because we talked about that in the Sheen Magazine interview. And I want people to really know you and get a better understanding of you. So if you can talk about your humble beginnings, because I think it's so powerful to where you are now. And everybody has a journey, and everyone has a story. And I think that your story is extremely empowering. Not just to women, but to anybody who was kind of thrown away because of where they came from or what they've gone through. Can you touch a little bit about your story, how you were raised, and some of the things that you experienced?
Okay, so I pretty much been through everything outside of addiction. I grew up in the foster care system. I actually had my first daughter in a shelter. And it was a lot. I went through mental health issues. I've been kidnapped, I've been raped, I've been in the system, but at the same time, I did everything society tells us to do. I went to college, I got a degree, I've been to jail, like I've been arrested. So I've done all these things, but in the midst of every bad situation, it was a blessing. Like when I moved to Atlanta, I was facing homelessness because of bad credit. And that ended up being the pivotal point on how I started and launched my financial literacy company. So I've just always been the type of person to, have that mentality that there's somebody out there that's always going through something worse than what we're going through. And because of where I come from, because of my background, just being in a shelter, having no family support, and really just having to get it out the mud and figure it out on my own, that's always been a passion of mine, to help people. Like my first job was at the shelter where I had my daughter, because they seen the influence that I've had on the girls who were there, pregnant in the shelter, no family. So that's just always been the root to who I am. And as you get older, especially as a single mother with kids, you're like, okay, well, I got to turn my talent to income.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I did. But yeah, so a lot of people, I had to get somebody together on my page not too long ago, because they're like, well, you're a realtor, so what could you have possibly been through? And I'm like, listen, my sugar daddy paid for me to go to real estate school. Like, I didn't always have it. I just wasn't one of them girls that was focused on shoes in the bag. So it's like, if you in my life, okay, how you helping me get to the next level? And it's not always financial. And I had to go through that transition always also, to where we look at the financial gain too much, not realizing that we have to be poured into in other ways. We have to be poured into spiritually. We have to be poured into emotionally.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue getting finances out of a man or out of anyone.
Yeah.
It's always been the other stuff that we need. And a lot of times as women, we compromise our wants and our values and our needs for that dollar amount. And I was one of those women.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference between me and other people is I'm relatable in a sense to where my degree's in psychology, so I can buckle down and help you and read you and figure it out from the book aspect. But I've also been through pretty much everything you could think of. So I have the street experience and knowledge, and I have the book experience and knowledge. And that's why it's always been hard to get therapy. Because I don't want to hear from someone who just went to school and just know what based on that. Like, girl, did you have to jump fences? Like, did you have to wait for gunshots to stop before you had to leave your house? Like, did you have to sleep with some man to feed your kids? Like, and I think that's what makes me relatable to so many people, because especially women, like, people watch me go through my transition. People watch me, be in a club as a bartender. People watched me as a video vixen where I was in a lot of, music videos with popular artists. People watched me take over the magazine game. Like, I had that on lock. The prison, I got a whole fan base in prison. I was selling magazines in prison. People watched me on OnlyFans. People watched me on Instagram talking about swipe up for my exotic videos, to now where I did my whole transition to where now you're not looking at me because of how I look, even though you still might because I look good. But
you better come on.
It's more so about the substance coming out of my mouth, because I'm teaching you how to elevate. I'm educating you on how to level up. There's nothing wrong with coming from where you come from, but it's like, okay, what you gonna do after that? What's your end game? What's your strategy? What's your exit strategy? What's your plan?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now. So where I just sold a house to a girl that was a waitress at the same club I was bartending at.
Wow.
From here on to home ownership and why it's important to own a home and stuff like that. So it's just like, now I'm using my platform to teach us. And when I say us, I mean color, because we're the only ones kind of left out of what we're supposed to be doing. We want to look like money versus having money. We want to spend.
Wait, you need to say that again.
We want to look like money instead of having money. We want to spend our money instead of investing our money. So, and again, this is coming from a place where I did that. I the times that I was looking most lit on Instagram, I was damn near homeless with my daughters. Nobody knew that though.
You better tell it. You know why, Suzette? This is why I love you, because you keep it a buck. You share. And I love the fact that it's no holds bar. You like, this is what it is. This is what it was. This is what got me here. How did you become so transparent in telling your story and not think about, somebody might judge me or somebody might say this? How were you able to just say, you know what? This is my story. It is what it is.
That just always been me as a person, because a closed mouth don't get fed. So growing up and just having daughters, it started at home. You gotta look yourself in the mirror, especially as a parent, as a single parent. You gotta be able to admit your faults. Like I pretty much raised my daughters in an environment where we have family meetings and we can talk about, listen, what can I do better as a parent? What am I not doing? So once you're walking like that in real life, like once that's who you are in real life, that's just a character trait of mine. Like I'm real. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. I never really cared about what anybody had to say about me, because if I did, I wouldn't be here. When I left New York, I had a salary job, benefits and all, working as a case manager. But in my heart, I just knew, I was like, listen, I'm a hustler. So having 20 cases or 5 cases, I was getting paid the same pay. I'm like, no, I need to be making money based on how I'm hustling, And I just was like, this ain't it. I don't know what I want to do or how I'm going to do it or even where I'm going to go, but I want better. And when I moved to Atlanta, I struggled a little bit. I had to find my way, but I'm here now. So the same people that called me crazy and I'm helping them get their stuff together. Woo. So I feel like a major component is being confident in who you are as a person and knowing what you want. Like your vision is not for everybody.
Yeah.
So once people get to the point where they don't need social validation or validation from anyone else, and they're really trying to do better in real life, you're going to do what you have to do. As a single parent, I can't just wake up and today don't feel like being a mother. I can't call nobody for help. So that always was my why. And I was told I couldn't even have kids. Like, I had went through a situation where I got raped and the doctors was like, listen, you're never gonna have kids. And I had 2 full-term healthy babies. So I knew that my children were and still are the reason why I gotta go so hard. I have no choice. The cycle has to stop. I can't have my kids. My kids is not gonna get it out the mud. My kids is not gonna look like money, not have no money. Both my daughters, 15 and 9, know about credit. They know about home ownership. When they don't have school and on the weekends, guess what? They're working. They're hosting open houses with me. They're helping me put them signs up. My oldest daughter does my marketing. If it's not for professional photography on my page, that's my daughter behind the camera. So I just work hard to create for my children what I didn't have, because I know what I went through. I know what I had to do. So at the point is like, whatever it is I got to do to make sure they don't encounter the same mistakes, even down to having no baby fathers. Like, not one, but 2. And a lot of times that's excuses for women. Like, listen, we don't need the men. We just got to find the power within ourselves to do what we have to do. And your circle is important. And that was my issue most of the time, the people I had around me. If I had people like me around me when I was going through what I was going through, even when I was transitioning or just trying to figure it out, I would have been so much further along. Like, I had people around me teach, and that's how they keep us segregated. Segregation is not just about race.
No, it's not.
Segregation is about class. Segregation is about the mentality.
Speak it.
You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell you something, and I'm not racist or nothing, but let me tell you something about the white household. Them kids, they gonna see 2 parents in that household until it's time for them to go to college, regardless of what they got going on. Because it's statistically proven that kids in a 2-parent household do better than kids in a single-parent household. Right? So it's like, why when their kids go off to college, they have an 800 credit score, but we sending our kids struggling. We sending our kids to the point where they got to sign loans and do all this stuff because they're not being educated at home. So it starts with self, like for real. And that's something I had to learn, because listen, I'm gonna be so transparent right now. When I had my first daughter, I had to learn how to love her. Because I didn't love myself at the time. Like I'm struggling with self-love, and I got a whole baby, and I was a lesbian at the time. So all type of identity crisis was going on. I didn't know who I was, let alone how I was going to raise a baby or how I was going to raise a child. I ain't have my life together. I was in a shelter. What? So nobody can't talk to me about the power of God. Nobody can't talk to me about coming from somewhere and that's an excuse as to why they didn't elevate or why they where they are. Like, nah, you gotta want better to do better. Can't nobody want it for you. You gotta want it for yourself. And as long as you want it for yourself, you're not gonna stop at nothing to get it. Regardless of what you gotta do.
You preaching a whole word.
Girl, listen.
Nicole said she's so motivational. Like, you gave me the chills on so many times. I wanted to let you just go, because I think it's so important. I mean, just your story alone, coming from foster care, doing what you had on the streets to do what you had to do, all the things that have happened to you during this time. Trying, and then being pregnant and not being able to know how to love, like, that stuff is real. Getting them before they get you. You're not going to have anybody that's not going to help you in this journey to kind of get to where you need to be. And I love the fact that you have an education, because people have this mindset on, oh, all of that story, she just some hood chick, da 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 da. You got the brains, and that's what
you want to know what's crazy. I did all of that after my education. And one of the biggest arguments in psychology is nature versus nurture. So does a person environment make up who they turn out to be, or is it genetics?
Mm.
You know, like I was in a household where I was in church 3 times a week, going to church, got baptized as a child, all of that. That don't matter. You could teach your kids but so much, but once they get into the real world, once they get around their peers, once they get, and that's why I left New York. Like right before I left New York, I got arrested again. And I had to tell myself, I had to be honest with myself, like, you know what? I'm not going to be nothing if I stay out here. I need a whole change of environment.
That's real.
You know, so it's accountability. Accountability plays a major part. If you want to sit here and act like everything is okay, you ain't going to get the help you need. If you want to sit here and act like you don't have a problem, you ain't going to get the help you need. If you're going to sit here and act like you don't need help, no, you got to be able to look yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, if you're not investing in yourself, how are you going to expect anybody else to do that for you? And that's why I wasn't picking the right relationships. I was looking for my relationships to define who I was versus me. So I could define what I want and know what I want and deserve. And that's a mistake a lot of women that we do. We're not whole within ourselves when we look for our partner to make us whole, and they can't. For a relationship to be 50-50, you got to bring 100% of yourself. You can't get 50% of yourself if you're not 100. So a lot of times we get into these relationships and we're not even 20%.
Come on. You better speak. You better speak.
Relationship is about is we. And like after my youngest daughter, she's 9, after her father, I was single for 6 years. Cause I just was like, listen, no, I gotta focus on me right now.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and worry about somebody else's feelings or somebody else's opinions and thoughts and how I'm gonna please you. I'm still trying to figure out how to be a good mother.
Yeah.
you know? And
that's real.
We mask our pain and our insecurities behind people. We hide behind people instead of taking the time to really build ourselves.
And why do you think that? Why do you think that oftentimes women are defined by the men that they have or the men that are in their lives? And I'm not even just talking about the situation we saw on TV. I'm talking about in general, because you're a boss. You've been doing this. You've been getting money. You've been, a hustler. You've been, trying to elevate yourself in all kind of ways. You always wanted more for yourself. And you have. And a lot of times people think, or they might see you with this one or that one and say, oh yeah, he's doing that and she's not doing that. Why do you think that people think that women can't get the money on their own, or they don't have that same tenacity or grind that some men do?
Because that's what we allow. Even in that situation, I was all those things, but when I was with him, I wasn't doing those things. I wasn't focused on my brand. I was helping him with his brand. So like right now, I just capped out in real estate. I had my license since 2019. This is the first time in my real estate career that I capped out. So
explain to them what that is.
So capping out is when you sell a certain amount of, so every real estate transaction, you have to give your broker a percentage of your earnings, of your commission. Capping out is when you get to that price point where the broker is like, okay, what you keep is yours. So I done sold about 15 houses that allowed me to cap out in the past year, but all of this didn't happen until I left my relationship. So when I was being defined as him, or he was doing X, Y, and Z, that's because I didn't have my own identity outside of him. Everything was about him. I put myself.
And how long was that relationship?
2.5 years. So, it was really what I allowed people to see.
Yeah.
What was really going on. I wasn't focused on Suzette.
So when you were asked to be on the show, was it just to be because you were his woman, or because they were going to spotlight you in some type of way as far as businesses? Because I know a lot of times with reality TV, when people sign on, it's like, okay, can I promote this? Can I do this? What can I do? What are the parameters? Or was it you were just there by default, if you will, because you were his girlfriend and they didn't focus on any of that?
You want to know something? I wasn't going to do reality TV. We had actually, so when we got together, it was COVID. We had said in the beginning of our relationship, I wasn't going to do TV. I'm not going to talk too much on it, but I'm going to just say I was tricked into
doing it.
It was a situation that happened, and I was told, you know, that I was going to get a chance to speak on what really occurred. And
Mm-hmm.
when we filmed that, they edited the whole thing out. So that's how I got sucked into reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that knows me, like I got people that know me in real life and couldn't even watch me on the show because they was like, listen, that's not you. Like you look uncomfortable. Like that's not your environment, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, it was a little bit of everything, you know, just being with him and they just saying, you know, well, the show has to reflect what's going on in real life, you
Yeah.
know, and
I've heard that.
they offered a nice little penny, a nice little chunk of change. So I was like, okay. And I did it, but it wasn't nothing of what I expected.
Yeah.
It actually hurt my brand and helped my brand. Um,
And that's interesting because I don't think that you, just by being his girlfriend or seeing how you were responding to him, because I don't think anything you did.
It was honestly, I had a bigger show reach out to me while I was doing that show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just more so like, well, if you're attached to him, we can't deal with you.
Got it.
I lost a lot
Got
of
it.
business
Got it.
because of the affiliation.
Got it.
And when we parted ways, I mean, y'all see what I got going on now. It's only been 6 months, so you know, we're gonna leave that right there. We're gonna kind of just leave that topic alone. Because one thing about me is no shade. Like
Just
everything
to
that I
show
went
you better
through,
than I can tell you. If show
yeah,
you better than I
like
can tell you as a person.
yeah, like sometimes you gotta do what's best for you, and
Yeah.
sometimes that's leaving other people behind. Like the
Yeah.
real deal was I got baptized. I got
Yeah.
baptized in
Talk
May.
about it. Talk
I got
about it.
baptized in May. Anyone that knows about a baptism knows that you have to put God first above your flesh. So it was
Amen.
a lot of things that that had to change
Yeah.
because we weren't married. So the
Yeah.
sex, us living together, all of that.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where the disrespect became loud.
Mm-hmm.
But I was already shown because I had did a 40-day fast before I got
Mm-hmm.
baptized. So
Mm.
it was everything that came out on social media about the other girl and everything that was already showed to me, and that had actually helped my decision on leaving.
Yeah. That
So
put the battery in your back.
yeah, so when I left, it was God was just showing me like boom, 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 boom. So I knew I made the right decision. And I'm not gonna say it was easy because we was actually at the best point of our relationship at that time.
Mm. Mm.
But when you give your life to God, you have to do what's best for you in the spirit and not so much in your flesh. And
Amen.
that whole situation, TV, it wasn't God ordained. I was still filming when all that stuff went down.
Wow.
I was still filming, and I just walked away from everything. Like even though because we had broke up 2 weeks before it went public, I was
Mm.
still filming though. I still had to finish the season.
Mm. So after y'all broke up, you still had to finish.
I still had to finish the season. When all of that social media stuff happened, I was supposed to be in New York that Monday,
Mm.
that week. So what they're saying that I did what I did, why? Why would I stop my bag? I still was getting
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
That's a whole. We ain't even gonna talk about that because it
Yeah.
don't even matter no more.
It doesn't.
Like
And this is
God,
not even, and I want to be clear. It's not even about bashing him
it's not
because
about. It has nothing to do with
that's not
him.
what you're doing, and that's not what this
It
show
has
is
nothing
even
to do with
about.
him. This
Right.
is my walk.
Yep.
This is about Suzette. This is what
Yep.
Suzette went through. This is what
Yep.
Suzette had to go through, and this is where Suzette is now.
Yeah.
Despite
Yeah.
people saying, "Oh, without him, you ain't nothing." Da da da.
People are saying that to you,
Yeah.
but you've been something before him because
But
God made you
but
something
people
before him.
don't. First of all, half the trolls on social media is a place for people who's miserable in real life to come and
Mm-hmm.
feel like they have a voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, even with that, I had to learn to get where I'm at now. I had to really go through a lot of self-healing and accountability because
Yeah.
a lot of the things that, it was mistakes.
Absolutely.
It was
It's
mistakes
so
that I
important.
made. It was mistakes that I made that I had to repent
Yeah.
and move on. And a lot of times that's why we're
Talk
being
about it.
stagnated.
Talk about it.
That's why we're being stagnated in our growth and in our promotion in life because we're feeling emotions of the enemy, not of God. We're feeling guilt. We're feeling shameful. You know, we're feeling pity for ourselves. We're feeling angry. We're having unforgiveness. I had to forgive and let go. And I had to do that work within myself to even get here.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, it's so important. As a life coach, this as a woman. Yep. It's so important. I have a new book that just came out about healing. And healing is healing is at the pinnacle because it's the root. It's called, my book is called, excuse me, Your Unhealed is Showing. And a lot of times our unhealed is showing. And I talk about how mine, as a life coach of 20 something years as a human being. So I love to debunk all of that. If you're this, you're supposed to be this. And we all out here lifing, right? And trying to figure it out. And life be lifing, but God always be guiding. So we got to know that and understand that. But it's healing is the foundation, really the root of a lot of things that we do as people. So I love the fact that you said, I gotta look, like it ain't all nobody else. Some of that stuff is mine.
It's my fault. All of it is mine because it's free will. It's free will. I chose to engage. I chose to engage in the negativity. I chose to do reality TV. I chose to stay in a relationship that wasn't God ordained. Like, let's really talk about it. What I had going on, it wasn't carnal. Everything was spiritual. And if you wasn't in tune spiritually, you missed the whole message. Because the people that's smart putting two and two together, like, damn, like, okay, well, she got baptized and this happened, and now look where I'm at. Like, anytime you put God above your needs, he's gonna make sure you're straight. He gonna bless me on the same platform they try to destroy me on.
Man, oh man. And that's the key that people don't get, Suzette. When you put God first above all else, other people, things, you know, the stuff that you're worshiping or whatever you think is the most important, when you say, you know what, I'm making this space for God, man, through the roof.
Listen, in between that time, I stopped drinking. I'm celibate until I get married.
Love it.
So I'm focused on my kids. I'm working on a cursing. That's still, you know, that's still working on that. But I found a good church home. I'm in church every Sunday. You know, so it's just certain things I couldn't do because I didn't have that spiritual support back then.
I love it. So as we come, I could sit here, we're going to definitely have you here for part 2 because it's so much and you're blessing so many people. Whether you guys are watching it live, I see all your comments, or you're watching the playback. Just give it up for Suzette. We're not done yet, but just give it up for her for just being honest. People might say, oh, she's being honest. She's telling her story. She's transparent. But it's hard for people when you deal with the trolls, cancel culture, social media, to say, you know what, this is what it is. Because we're so used to seeing fake people with fake storylines and fake stories and fake social media feeds. When you see a real person talking to real, it's almost like, and it shouldn't be that way, you know. And I love just how, and I keep saying it because it's so refreshing to see you so honest and sincere about your story and everything that you've been through. Well, no, everything that you lived through, right? Everything that God's grace kept you from and got you to.
Because a lot of times what didn't happen is God's protection. A lot of times we look at, oh my God, I didn't get this, I didn't get that, but didn't even realize that you was being saved from that same situation that you thought you needed. And that's not just relationships, that's careers. That's in every aspect.
Absolutely. Before we get out of here and before we get to our game, and you gonna come back on for part 2?
Oh yeah, girl. Well, we got some work to do. We know we already. Yeah, so the book is dropping on the 1st. I'm having my party. Y'all gotta come party and celebrate this milestone with me. And that pain prompted me to write. I've been writing since 2015 when I had got my body done and died on the table and came back. But it was so many parts.
You can't just say that.
Look, you gotta read the book. You gotta read the book.
Let me tell you something. You think that she was transparent here? Wait till y'all get that book. Y'all gonna be like, I can't wait to read the book.
And let me tell you something about my book too. It's not just a good read. We want a good read, yeah, but my book, after you read my book, there's gonna be transformation that's gonna take place in anyone's life who needs healing. Is a lot of raw truth experiences, but more importantly, the book is giving you principles how to go from bondage to breakthrough. So a lot of times we're stuck in that bondage. We're stuck in that bondage and we don't know how to get to that breakthrough. So after reading my book, it's gonna pivot your life in a whole different direction, and then that's also gonna be the foundation to my mentorship, because I'm forming a mentorship program. So all of that is in the book though. So yeah, y'all gotta read the book. But listen,
we ain't nothing that you've been through is in vain, because it's not in vain. Your testimony is a testament to God's grace, number one. And number is nothing that you went through is voided, because it's to use your life to spare someone else.
Yep, no story, no glory.
So tell the people, and to see the name of the book, definitely tell them how they can get in contact with you before we play our game. How they can get in contact with you, the pre-orders available, where they can get it, and when the actual book is coming out.
You could pre-order the book now on Shop Suzette. So Suzette is spelled Suzeette. So it's shopsuzette.org. My Instagram is Suzette_the Realtor. So you can hit me on either place. All my contact methods is on Instagram, but you can pretty much just go to my website, see my book. I got merch. I'm really trying to start a female empowerment movement. So I got merch that says I can do anything through Christ who strengthens me. That's actually on a bookmark that's on a bookmark that comes with the book. But that, and then also my book title, because again, with a lot of women, we don't get to that point in our life until we transition. So the real point of my book, we got to kind of alter and filter a little bit because of the name, and we ain't trying to, have YouTube go crazy. But if y'all go on my Instagram,
we said a lot. But we said a lot of the words, but they ain't going to take it down. They just funny. But you know what? If it has to be sacrificed for you to tell your story and keep it real, then I take one for the team. It's all good. It's all good, because this show is about inspiring and encourage someone. It's not about, how much this or how much that. So if I got to take an L from this to get his glory, I take it all day.
Right. And we don't take L's. When we speaking on Christ and when we doing God's work, there is no L.
So the L is life, right?
The L is life and love. Life, absolutely. Love, and lessons, okay?
Life, love, and lessons. You know what? You just spoke a whole word. You speaking my language. But I'm just so proud of you. I'm so proud that everything that you've been through in life, you can think that, oh yeah, you were thrown away, or you're not special, or you're not amazing, or you're not worthy. Right. And God shows you by keeping you that you are so worthy and deserving of everything that He promised.
The key is
God will move people out the way so He can get your full attention, so you can thrive in the goodness that's supposed to be for you always.
But you got to believe that, and you got to know that. That's key.
For sure. For sure. All right. So you ready to play a game before we get out of here?
I'm a little nervous. What kind of game?
All right. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun, y'all. 5 minutes of fun. This or that. Breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Night owl or early bird?
Early bird.
Because you get the worms. Because you be getting the worms in that business.
5 a.m.
ATL realtors, you up early because you getting the worm, girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Adventurous vacation or relaxing vacation?
Relaxing.
Okay. A hidden talent. You got one?
And what aspect?
Any PG.
I know how to get to the money. Now let me stop. I play sports. I'm very organized, and anything just relating to business and just talking.
Okay.
Like my talent
Okay.
is my gift of gab, my word of mouth. They used to
Okay.
call me the finesse queen back in the day, but that's
I
another.
can see that. I can see that. So what makes you laugh out loud, Suzette? Like what just makes you crack up?
Humor. I love to laugh, so I'm always
Yeah.
laughing. Like I gotta be around people I'm around. They gotta make me laugh. I feel like that's
Yeah.
so important.
I love that. So the song that makes you dance every single time you hear it. You like, that's my jam.
Dang, it's so much because I got a whole gospel playlist that make me jam. But I got that. I think right now is especially like when you working is that let's get to the money, let's get to the money, let's get to
Yeah.
the money. And you know how they remixed the Marvin Sapp song, Never Would Have Made
Yeah.
It?
Yeah. Oh, that's good. With that little squeaky little
Yeah,
sound in there. Yeah, that's
I
good.
don't care where I'm at. I'm like,
Look, you merged them together. See that, and that's what it is because
yeah.
that's real, right?
That's real, for real.
What would people be surprised to know about Suzette?
I'm shy.
That's one for me. That's one that people I'm shy too.
Every time I say that, people be like, "Well, I got." When you've been in the industry for so long, you develop alter egos. But in real life, like I'm shy.
Mm-hmm. That's real. I believe you because people don't believe me either. So I believe you. All right. So using the first letter of your first name, one word to describe Suzette.
Sassy. And sensitive.
Okay. And that's it. That's all.
I do the sensitive over sassy because I'm a little sensitive. Okay. It don't show.
Sensitive.
You know,
Me too. When's your
sensitive.
birthday? When's your birthday?
November.
When's your birthday?
November.
I'm sensitive too. Okay. I'm June, but I'm huh?
I said we got a lot of similar traits, but yeah, I'm sensitive.
Seriously. I love you, my sister, and I'm so glad that you accepted the invitation. When I saw you post, I was like, she definitely got to be on because I like her. Because I already told you before, you my sister. What is the last thing you want someone to know about you as we end?
What you see is what you get.
I can know that.
There's no hidden agenda. Like what you see, you see a mom, you see a hustler, you see a person full of love and light, like that's who I am.
Yeah. And you are an amazing woman with an amazing testimony. And I love the fact that you know where your blessings flow from. So I wish you nothing but more success in everything that God promised you. I pray, and I know that you will continue to get it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. Everybody, this is Suzette Samuel. Make sure you follow her on social media. Make sure you go to her website and make sure you pre-order that book.
Yes,
if you love what you do, yes. When? Tell them.
February 1st is dropping, y'all. So anyone that does the pre-order, is going to be shipped out exactly on the 1st. Y'all going to get that tracking in your email. But today's price is not going to be tomorrow's price. So pre-order, the price is cheaper. So get in there, order your book. And that's it. I'm excited because I can't wait to see the impact.
Yeah.
That is going to have,
And I'm definitely going to order my book. And you just heard just a small piece of her story, but it's not all. You have to understand that stories have ebbs and flows and journeys. And she just told you what a boss she is in real estate. So I suggest everybody pick up the book February 1st, because once it's out, today's price is not tomorrow's price. It's going to be different. And you're going to wish you had purchased this book early so you can get ahead of everyone else, because her story is like no other. But seeing this beautiful lady, all she's been through, and she's still here, and she is thriving, not just here surviving, she is thriving in life. And you can do the same. Yes.
You're surviving, but you is thriving. Okay,
you're going to inspire so many people, girl. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
You are so welcome. Let's see comments. Thank you, everybody. I didn't get to the comments. I tried to post as many as I can. Thank you for motivating so many of us that the storm eventually runs out of rain. Yes, and we are going to end there. I love it. I love it. No more rain in this cloud. All right, y'all. Thank you, everyone, for watching Kendell Lenice Live. Remember, you are a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until next time, God bless.
Bye, y'all. That was dope.
Girl, because 30 minutes.